Hi guys, I wanted to make a quick video today about this interesting new notebook that I've just bought. It's by a company called New, and they make a lot of notebooks targeted to students, but this one's targeted to people who require a notebook who do messy jobs, because it's designed to withstand a lot of wear and tear and mess and oil and things like that. So for example, builders, gardeners, people who do messy hobbies, that sort of thing. I bought it for my brother, who is going to be working in the field a lot, doing environmental consultancy, water cleansing and things like that. But I thought before I give it to him, I will test out some pens on a page to show you how the pens cope with the paper, because it's actually made from stone. Well, they say it's made from stone, but it's actually made from chalk, which is a kind of rock. So it's apparently water and oil resistant, tear resistant, great for writing outdoors, and it's a ruled pad and it's perforated. And then on the inside, it gives you some more information. For example, it's waterproof and it's wipeable. And it's also better for the environment because it uses less energy and water when they make it during the manufacturing process compared to paper-based notebooks. And it's also non-toxic. It doesn't contain bleaches, alkaline acids, and it's also recyclable and biodegradable. So it sounds really fantastic. I bought it from a shop here in the UK called Biology, which is spelled B-U-Y-ology. I think there's more than just one here in Plymouth. I think there's some others around the rest of the country, and they sell things really cheaply. I got 3 other notebooks today, and they're all the same. A really nice looking grid reporter's style notebook like this for 39p each, and this was only 79p. So I'm going to do a paper test. I'm going to test the some different pens for you, including a fountain pen, because I know a lot of people who use fountain pens are interested in seeing how different types of paper cope with the pens, because they're very inky. And we will see what the wetness of the paper is, so whether it absorbs or whether it remains wet on the surface, which I think it will, because this doesn't feel like a very absorbing paper. So we'll do a pen test, and then we'll do a swipe test, and then we'll have a look at the reverse of the sheet of paper to see if it's bled through, and also we'll try to see if it feathers on the fountain pen, and then we'll do a tear test at the end. So let's start with the fountain pen. This is obviously a Lamy Safari with Diamine Sunset ink, which is not a particularly dry ink, but I wouldn't call it very wet either. I think it's more on the wet side than the dry side, but it's not too bad. Got some nice colour variation. Right, I think we'll have a look at that close up. Let's see what's happening. Hopefully my camera will focus. I can see that there's been a little bit of railroading, which I've never seen before with this pen. And in fact, I don't think it's the nib, I think it is the paper. Railroading is where you get 2 lines instead of one constant line. You get as if the nib has split and has put down 2 lines. And these nibs from Lamy, the Safari nibs, are not designed to do that. They're not flex nibs, so I think it's that the paper isn't taking the ink properly. I'm going to do another line, and I'm going to look at it up close just to see what's happening as I write. Yeah, it's almost resisting the ink a little bit on the T's particularly, so it seems to be the downstrokes. It's only on the T's, so it seems to be a vertical downstroke that it's not working. So now I'm going to do a swipe test. Just going to do a zigzag line. So that instantly did swipe off, and it's completely taken the ink away. So I'm going to leave it for, I'm going to do some more. I'm going to leave one for 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so you can see the difference, that the immediate swiping and the 2 second swiping was very wet. It didn't absorb at all. 5 second swiping was a bit better. 10 seconds was a bit better again, but I still wouldn't say that this is really the best paper for fountain pens. So we'll have a look at the reverse at the end to see if we can see if it's bled through or not. I don't think it will bleed through, just because the ink is sitting on top of the page and not being absorbed. So here's just a normal crayon. Seems to be going on quite nicely. So that seems to be fine. And now we will use a pencil. This is a mechanical pencil, so we're not going to get much line variation. And actually, it looks as though the paper isn't really taking the pencil lines very well. You've got some gaps. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if this is really the best paper for very careful writing. I think obviously it's not designed to be a very high quality writing paper. It's designed to be a good quality industrial notebook. So if you're looking for something that you can do calligraphy on, I don't think this is the right type. But if you're looking for something that is very functional when you're working, I think this will be very good. Let's try a ballpoint pen. Oh yes, this is going on very smoothly. That seems fine. It doesn't look too bad. It was a bit dry at first because I haven't used this pen in a while, so there's a bit of skipping there. But it looks as a normal ballpoint pen does on normal paper. So I think for two normal, regular sorts of pens that people use out on the go, which are ballpoints and gels, will be, well, at least ballpoints are fine. Let's try a gel. This is a High-Tech C. So if you've heard of the High-Tech C Coletto pens, this is the non-multi-pen version. This is just a single pen version. Let's have a look at that. It's a very narrow point. I think it's 0.4. And that seems absolutely fine. There's no skipping, which is good because I do find that my my gel pens in other brands tend to skip quite a lot. I'm going to do a swipe test now. That seems very good. It's barely swiped off at all. So I think gel pens, pencil and ballpoint pens are fine on this type of paper. Now we've got an inky rollerball pen that is not waterproof. It's a Pilot V5 High-Tech point. That's going on smoothly and it's not skipping either. Let's do a swipe test. that's fine too. So I think ballpoint, gel pen, pencil and rollerball are fine. And this is another rollerball. It's a black permanent ink one. It's a Uniball eye needle. It's very similar to the eye micros as well. And these are one of my favourite pens. This is a thicker version of the one that I normally use. I normally use the 0.5 and this is a 0.7. And that goes on absolutely fine, although there is a little bit of feathering. We didn't get any feathering with the fountain pen, but we are getting a tiny bit of feathering, I don't know if you can see, with the eye micro. And we'll do a swipe test. Ah, there we go. That's definitely not been absorbed very quickly. Although the first line of writing we did in that pen doesn't swipe after 10 seconds or so. So with the inkier pens, I'm not sure that this is the optimal type of paper, or that's the optimal type of pen for this paper. Here's a big fat felt tip pen, although we'll do a thin line and a fat line. So the thin line first. This is the same sort of thickness of a normal felt tip pen, and then we'll do a swipe of a thicker side. So that's not doing anything strange. It seems to be going on fine. It's not feathering and it seems to be okay. It is swiping a bit. There we go. I've got some ink from the other colours on my hands, so it looks a bit dirty. There we go. It is swiping a bit. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is the best paper for doing arty things on, unless you like the effect of the feathering of when you swipe it, which is quite pretty. You could do something interesting with that, but it doesn't seem to be layering up very much. And in fact, if we do a heavy concentration of ink on one area, I wonder what's going to happen. Yeah, the paper started to peel up. It started to come apart like cheaper paper does with watercolours. So I wouldn't say that this is a very good arty paper, although it's interesting because it said it was waterproof, so I don't know why it's reacting like that, but you can certainly use highlighters on this paper. And now we've got two very interesting pens. We've got a Sharpie pen. It's I don't know if I should call it a Sharpie pen actually, because I know that there are pens, it's just a thin Sharpie marker. And we've got a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen. So these are two permanent pens and the ends are both needle points. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, because these would bleed through on some papers. Ah, my pen's drying out a bit. I haven't used it in a while. I think once it gets going it'll be okay. Let's do a swipe test with the pink Sharpie. That seems fine, but it is drying out quite a lot, so it may not be as inky as it would have been. We'll turn it over in a second to see how that's reacted. And the last pen is the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen. That's going on lovely and smoothly. It hasn't dried out. And we'll do a swipe test. That's gone a little bit. There we go. Right, so let's have a quick look at these to see if anything has feathered. Nope. So the only thing that feathered was the Pilot Eye Micro. Sorry, the Uniball Eye Micro. Let's turn the page over now and see what happens with the other side. Ooh, no bleed through. We've got a bit of ghosting, but as would be expected with the darker colours. And we've got obviously indentation from the ballpoints, pens, and the pens with more of a sharper point, like the needlepoint Sharpie. But we've got absolutely no bleed through from the fountain pen ink, which is great, and no bleed through from the thicker, wetter felt tip, and nothing from any of the others. So there we go. That's the review of stone paper, chalk paper, particularly of this notebook, the new, what's it called? The new Tough Paper notebook, which you can buy now in the biology shop in the UK. I would recommend it for its purpose, which is for tough. I'm just trying to get dust off it. I don't know where it's collected it. It's brand new. It might be from the shop. I would recommend it for the tough jobs it is designed for. I would recommend it for jobs in which you need waterproof paper, although I haven't tested it with many wet mediums today, wet media, or with oil and grease and that sort of thing, but certainly it's worked with pencil, ballpoint, gel pen, and it will work with highlighters and even permanent markers. So I think it is a really useful, versatile notebook, and I would definitely recommend it for the price that it is currently selling at in biology, and I think I would recommend it for the purpose that it was designed for, the tough and durable, wipeable, messy job paper. Thanks for watching. Bye. I forgot to do a rip test, so let's try to rip it now. Well, it does rip, but it's quite difficult to do, and it starts to bend and pucker first. So if you accidentally were ripping it, then it has some resistance, and it will be difficult to do it accidentally. But if you deliberately try to rip it, it does work, but it doesn't have the jagged edge of paper. It has quite a clean tear, and it doesn't feel like it would give you a paper cut either, which is interesting. So there is a little review of its rippability. Bye.